My name is Antonia Calvo, Managing Director of ActXM, and I'm here joined today by
Hello, I'm Manish. Hi, everyone.
Manish is our Senior Technical Consultant and a guru and expert in workflow and automations in Qualtrics automations. So he's a perfect partner to be here. He will do the heavy lifting of showing how to make workflow automations work in Qualtrics. And yeah, so I'll get started. So before we head into the content, just a little bit of an introduction in terms of what we are going to cover today. We are going to start, or I will start with give you a little bit of context on some of ongoing CX challenge that we see. And I promise I won't take too long on this topic. It's just to really help give context in terms of what we see working with a lot of different organizations, but also how the technology and evolution and innovations that we are seeing in Qualtrics technology can actually help address this challenge that we see day to day. The second item we're going to cover will be around understanding workflows. So we are going to the detail and we're going to share examples. We're going to do a demo of some of those examples within the platform, but we think it's really important that you have a good understanding of what workflows are and how they work and how to set them up at a high level within the Qualtrics platform, because once you have that understanding, that will be a lot easier for you to get ideas on how to implement automations within your organization. And then we're going to share 7 examples of how to use automations and workflows within Qualtrics that apply to potentially both customer and employee experience projects. The first 2 examples focus on AI-powered automations. So we share these examples on technology that is already enabled and available in Qualtrics platform. We'll then share 3 examples of advanced integrations and workflows that can help take your program to the next level. And finally, we'll cover with essential integrations and workflows. So really about sending data to Qualtrics, what options do you have available, and sending data out of Qualtrics, or what options you have available. We hope that by end of this session, you'll have some practical examples on how to enhance your customer or employee experience programs with automations and integrations. And we encourage you, make notes, and we'll have a space for Q&A at the end if you want to go a little bit deeper into some of the topics. But we hope that at the end of the session, you have ideas that you can go and implement within your organization. So what are the CX challenges? Look, we work with a lot of clients, and big and small, and Manish probably touches the vast majority of our customers in a way or another. And what we typically see in terms of CX challenge, the first one being the data silos, like the systems. Many organizations do struggle with disconnected systems. I'll probably say almost every organization struggles with disconnected systems. The data is stored across multiple platforms. It makes it really difficult to sometimes extract meaningful insights and create this single view of customer experience. And without breaking down these silos, it's challenging for you to act on customer feedback. We think automations and workflows can help with this challenge. The second one that we see coming up a lot, especially over the past 18 months or almost 2 years, there is this feedback fatigue factor. Your customers, your employees are fed up of completing surveys. They get bombarded with surveys. Response rates are going down. We reckon a lot of it is because there's so much of it going on, but also they're not necessarily seeing that feedback programs, they're not necessarily engaging and valuable to the people completing those surveys. So we need to explore new options to make the feedback meaningful to customers and employees. And you do that by taking action, but also looking at options of potentially adding other sources of data into your CX program. So, for example, adding unstructured data, so your CX program is not only reliant on questionnaires, you add other sources of information. The third challenge is this idea of being stuck in reactive insights. You all have really good dashboards with, driver analysis, some advanced statistics going on, but they're still reactive in nature. By the time you address or you look at the issues and identify issues that are coming into the data, your customers may have already churned or they are disengaged. So again, there's a movement towards making real-time insights, but also taking action and being more proactive in taking action. And how you do that, especially at scale, we have been talking about closed loop for years with our clients, and it's a real challenge to close loop on a one-on-one. So automations, workflow, some of the features we see on AI coming through will help us make that more seamless at scale and being able to follow up with customers and take action at scale. And the final challenge is around manual overloads and efficiencies. Many CX teams spend too much time on repetitive manual tasks, whether being pulling reports, following up on customer issues, managing workflows. And this is not only slows down the ability to act, but also really drains valuable resources where these resources could actually be better off and spend time on strategic initiatives. So this is what we see, like across all the different organizations that we work with. And so what technology and what innovation is out there that is actually can help you drive future workflows and automations, but can actually help address some of these challenges. The first one that we see coming up in Qualtrics platform and a lot of improvements in this area is around the enhanced natural language processing. So basic text topic, text IQ has been around for a while, but we see improvements in terms of being able to create topics faster, more meaningful topics out of the text IQ, but also a deeper understanding around the sentiment, effort, emotions, and the ability to pick up actions or suggestions. And so what does this mean for you in terms of the impact on your program? Well, the ability of identifying themes quickly and also the ability of reading through sentiment, effort, emotion actually allows you to analyze vast amounts of unstructured data in a much faster way, but also suggests and personalize the action and the follow-ups you're taking with your customers. We're going to go through a couple of examples on how you can do this quite seamless within the platform. Second innovation is AI power recommendation. Like we can't get away from AI, right? We are in the AI area, and we are seeing some innovations in Qualtrics related to AI recommendations, and we want to walk you through some of those by sharing some examples of how you can integrate AI through automations. And we see it mainly around AI segmentations on your Qualtrics directory. There are segments that AI is suggesting that you can take and make a use of, as well as the text IQ components. And this actually means that you're able to move faster from insights to action, but both at macro and micro levels. So a lot of the challenge with CX programs is how do you personalize those relationships, and actually with AI you have the ability to do that. And the final element is the low no-code workflow builders. So what this means is that it's easier and faster to set up workflows and automations with very little advanced programming knowledge. I'm not a programmer and I can set up few automations. And so what that actually means for a lot of the CX practitioners, you now have the power and the ability to be more agile, to be more innovative, to really test and deploy new workflows and automations, adapt and change without reliance on data teams or programming teams, which are often very hard to get. And we know how much you struggle to get the attention of those teams to work on your CX programs. So we feel like these innovations are just they're not theoretical possibilities. They are implemented, available on the platform today. And so we'll share ideas on how you can showcase these within the technology. Before we get into those examples, just a little bit, as I promised, we want you to have a good understanding of what workflows are. So at its core, a workflow is a series of steps that lead to an action or a task or a process being more efficient, and ultimately is a recipe for an automation. So they really workflow start with a trigger, and this is an event that kicks off the entire process. So basically, what does trigger this automation? It can be, for example, a customer submitting a survey response, can be a specific date or time, or can be even an event that external to Qualtrics, external to so it could be another CRM or customer service platform. The key here is really about defining when exactly this event will take place, and that will trigger the workflow. The next element of workflows is a condition. So this is where we add in a logic or rules for our workflow. So in simple terms, it can be an and or condition. So it's basically a definition of under what circumstances does this workflow start and what is the action that we want to take based off the condition. And so the final one is the task. So what action should be taken is basically the what happens after the trigger and the conditions are met. And this could be anything. There's over 30 different tasks available in Qualtrics. Can be sending an email, updating a database, sending data from one place to another. So I'm going to ask now Manish to go through each one of these in a little bit more detail, so just so you get a really good understanding of the options available to you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Antonia. So let's understand what are the different type of workflow triggers first. So when setting up a workflow, the first key decision is to choosing whether it should be event-based or scheduled. This determines how and when your automation runs. So the first one we have is event-based workflows. So these workflow triggers automatically when a specific event occurs. For example, a new response is submitted or a response meets a specific condition that could be a low NPS score. A good use case would be for the workflows is if a customer submits a negative feedback, a workflow can automatically trigger to report an email alert to the external team. The next type of workflow we have here is a scheduled type of workflow. These run at a predetermined time or on a recurring schedule. For example, exporting survey data every morning at 8 a.m. or maybe sending a weekly report to the management team on a weekly basis. Another use case for this type of workflow would be instead of triggering a task for every individual response, a scheduled workflow could consolidate all detractor responses into a daily report for the management team. The next type of trigger we have available is ETL, which is extract, transform, and load the data. Now let's talk about how we can automate ETL processes in Qualtrics. This is essential for keeping data up to date, moving it between different systems, ensuring the accuracy without any manual intervention. The first step for ETL is extracting data. Qualtrics allow us to pull data automatically through workflows. For example, we can import contacts on demand, whether it's pulling in customers list from a CRM or adding a new employees to an customer employee experience program. Another key automation is exporting the survey data. So instead of you manually downloading responses like on daily basis or on weekly basis, you can automate that process in various formats like JSON or CSV that can help you to even report in some of your external systems like Power BI or Tableau. So that's we have for the scheduled workflows, which is in the ETL. The next is transformation. So this is where we modify or enrich the data before using it. A common use case is updating contact records and provide new contact details. We can automatically update their profile into the Qualtrics directory. We can also apply logic to clean data, map fields, and even categorize responses before sending it to another system. So the last task we have in ETL is loading the data. So this is crucial for integrations. For example, if we collect customers' feedback and we want to act on it, we can push those responses into a CRM like Salesforce, or it could be a ticketing system like Zendesk. This way, follow-ups can happen in real time. By automating ETL process in Qualtrics, we reduce manual work, basically improve data accuracy, and also create seamless integrations across different platforms.
I find that the ETL is the most technical we're gonna get on this conversation. So bear with us. and we're actually going to share at the end some options around these ETL
Correct.
components. I have a hand up from Christopher. Can I please ask to just write out the questions you have in the section, in the Q&A section, and we'll be able to answer them at the end.
Okay. So moving on to our next section, which is workflow condition. So once you choose in your workflow type, the next important step is defining workflow conditions. So these conditions determine when a task will be triggered. If no conditions are set, the task will trigger every single time the event occurs. Now that may not always be ideal, especially if you're testing your setup or only want to act on specific responses. That's why adding conditions help refine and control how the workflow executes. For example, I personally use a condition every time response equals normal, because this ensures that my workflow only runs for production responses and doesn't trigger for any test link completions.
That's a pro tip there.
Yeah. When setting our workflow conditions, there are few key steps to follow. So the first one you can see is select the rule of the condition group. Here you decide how strict the condition logic should be. For example, if you want to send an escalation only when an NPS score is low and the customer has left a comment, so we'd use AND logic because we are checking both of the conditions should be true. Another example would be if we want to trigger an action when a response is either low NPS or mentions a specific keyword, we'd use OR logic because we are checking any of the following should be true. Second step is selecting the source type. This defines where the data is coming from. It could be a survey response, an external system, or a ticketing system. The third stage we have is to select the criteria. This defines the exact condition that must be met before workflow runs. Few common examples would be if NPS score is less than 7, or maybe the ticket status equals closed. By setting up the right workflow conditions, we ensure that the automation only runs when it's truly needed, and you don't run it like if it's not needed into the automation to run. So that's what we have for workflow conditions. Moving on to the next slide, we have is the third final action which we do under the workflows, which is workflow task. So there are some of the common tasks which I'll go through today. I might not be able to cover all of these because we have a lot of tasks available in Qualtrics. So the first task we have is ticketing task and update tickets. These allow us automatically create and modify tickets based on survey responses. The next is the email task. This allows us to send an automated emails whenever a workflow is triggered. For example, we can send a confirmation email after a response is submitted, or maybe notify a manager if customer leaves any critical feedback. The next type of task we have available is XMD task. It allows us to store and update key survey data for future use in reports, dashboards, and even in the automations.
Let's just say XM, we tend to use a lot of jargon. XMD
Is the XM directory, basically,
where we save all the contacts, being customer or employee contacts. And we chose these tasks here that you see in bold: ticket, email, XMD, and code task, because are the most regular and of the ones
most
that
often
we
used.
often use.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this XMD task, XM directory task, this one is really useful if you'd like to trigger another survey based on the first survey's response, or if you want to keep your Qualtrics data up to date based on the survey answers.
And you get over into the codes mode now.
Yeah. So that's the code task.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of tricky. You might need some programming knowledge to use that code tasks. So it allows us to execute custom JavaScript within a workflow, enabling advanced logic, data manipulation. Some of the good examples for the code task would be it can perform complex data transformation before storing any results. Okay, so the next type of tasks we have is the integration tasks. Some of the most common ones you can see is Zendesk, Jira, Salesforce. So let's say Zendesk task, which automates interactions between Qualtrics and Zendesk by creating or updating tickets based on survey responses.
And what we see here is just the out-of-the-box ones, right?
Yes.
So you can integrate with other CRM, service tools, using the ETL
Correct,
options.
correct. Using the custom API-based or web service type of tasks. So these are the out-of-the-box type of tasks where you might need to log in through your credentials. If you're using Zendesk or maybe Salesforce, just use your credentials and then connect your account. So similarly for the Jira task, it integrates Qualtrics with Jira by automatically creating or updating issues based on survey responses. For example, if you have a bug related issue which is reported within the survey, a new Jira ticket can be created for the development team to investigate. Same for the Salesforce task. It enables seamless data integrations between Qualtrics and Salesforce by creating or updating records based on survey responses. You can also create tickets in Salesforce based on your like poor score in customer satisfaction surveys, or it could be a low NPS score. Then moving on to the another task list we have is for ETL tasks. So some of the most common used ETL tasks are Qualtrics file. It automates the handling of files within Qualtrics, such as file uploads or downloads in surveys, and even managing attachments in response data. The second one is the SFTP files task. It automates the transfer of the survey data or files between Qualtrics and a secure FTP server, enabling seamless data exchange. Then we have some of the loader tasks available, which is users EX directory and CX directory. It syncs user data to an employee experience or customer experience directory, depends which of the platform you're using. And it can enable targeted actions based on customer insights in customer experience instance.
Perfect.
So, yep, that's all we have for the workflows. There are many other things also you can do in the workflows. It depends on a specific use case, basically.
I just want to say before we go to the next slide, there's some more hands up. If you can just write out any questions you have in the section, that will be great. But I think it's important that we stop here just to help realize with all these different options in terms of conditions and the trigger point plus the tasks, it's almost like the options are unlimited in terms of what you can do within Qualtrics in terms of sending data one survey to another survey, directory to other systems. So you can do a lot of stuff with what's available in platform.
Yeah, that's correct. We can play with the task in a different manner. Like it could be inbound integrations or outbound integrations, sending data from Qualtrics to another platform or receiving data in Qualtrics from any other platform.
Yeah. Great. All right. So we want now to get on to more specific examples. And so we'll have a lot of options as we just saw, but we want to walk you through 7 different examples and just go through the platform and share with you how this can be set up. The first 2 we're going to cover focus on the AI-powered automation. So we want to look at how AI segments available in the XM directory can enable you to automate target actions, making sure that the right message reach the right person at the right time. The second example around AI automations is about workflows based on text analysis. Then we will go to more advanced integrations where we hope you get some ideas on how you can make your program go to the next level. So 3 examples we'll share here: how to keep data clean and compliant by managing unsubscribes in Qualtrics, but also sending this information back to potentially your marketing platform, so you have a single view of customer opt-in and opt-out options. We'll then show how you can create and integrate with gift card solutions to potentially reward your customers, reward your panel members and the employees, and do that in an automated manner, as well as covering the possibility of actually using workflows automations to create, recruit, and manage a research panel, which I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And then finally, we'll go to the essentials. Like, we want to share with you some of the cool stuff that is out there first, but we do think that you need to have the essentials covered before you go into the fancy AI automations. So for those interested, we'll cover off the basics around integrating with CRMs or data lakes to bring data into Qualtrics for survey distribution. And then we'll share how you can export data and send it back to other platforms in the same level and fashion as sending data back to Qualtrics. All right, so let's get into AI-powered automations. Like you might be wondering, what exactly are AI segments? Qualtrics has had segments available in the directory for quite a while, and you could use it in many different ways, but the main purpose was you get criterias and as people come into Qualtrics platform directory, they are allocated to segments, give you the ability to view it in the dashboard. But the next level is that Qualtrics platform now is looking into the data that comes in to the directory, as well as surveys, and automatically creates and suggests segments for you. So it makes that process of creating segments a lot easier because it's doing that for you. And what we find really interesting with these AI segments is obviously creating the macro segments, it's a lot easier, but it's actually going into the micro segments and looking at areas or customer groups that often gets missed with the manual analysis, and just having really the opportunity to go into that level in a lot more detail. And then with these segments and the automation in place using the AI, you can actually automate personalized actions based on customer segmentation. So I want to give a bit of this introduction around AI segmentations to just help set the scene. And I want Manish will share a couple of examples in platform how we can make the AI segments work for you in terms of workflows and automations. Imagine, and both examples I have here kind of work the same way, but imagine AI identifies customers at risk of churn. The event condition scenario is a customer is added to that at-risk segment. And then from there, you can create whatever tasks you want to create. A couple of examples, it might be you automatically offer a personalized renewal discount, for example, or you may want to notify your account managers that the client is at risk using email, or potentially even notifying your account managers by integrating these alerts into your CRM to say this customer is at risk based on experience data that you have collected. Similarly, you could do a similar approach to customers that are high-value, loyal customers. So customer is added to a loyal customer segment. You can send them a reward. You can send them a thank you message. And you can see that with these options available, you can actually start personalizing a lot more that action planning that we all need to take as part of the customer experience program. So Manish is going to log into the Qualtrics platform and share with us how these will work.
Yeah, thanks. Let me share my screen. So this is one of our Qualtrics sandbox account, just a test account where I will show you how you can use Qualtrics powered AI suggested segments. So I've logged into the platform and going into the directories. So directory is basically a master database where all your context data will be there. So it depends on the data which you have uploaded. Qualtrics will suggest some of the AI powered segments. So you can see this option is available in here, show AI powered segments. I can see all the segments which are available into the platform. So currently, I don't have much data into this account. So these are very limited, but if you have any data uploaded into your directory context, you're going to see all the suggested segments from that data. So to create these segments, you're going to see this option, create this segment. I have already created some of those. So we'll take you through one of those segments. So you can see, for example, this is high risk segment, which I've created. So there is a rule which calculates all the customers into this segment. And based on this rule, you will have your context into this segment. So this rule can be edited and can be refined. You can be able to customize this rule in your own way, depends on your specific use case. And then all the customers who belongs to this rule or who meets this criteria will be added into the segments.
Can I just say, I think this is what we're seeing with AI. Like we start using AI in our day-to-day lives, right? So like you want to make use of AI, makes your whole life a lot easier, but there's still that human element of go and check what AI is suggesting. and give you the flexibility of enhancing and improving based on on the human knowledge, I guess, and screening. So this is what you have the options available here, like make use of AI, but run through and adapt.
Yeah, that's correct. It's always good to have second pair of eyes.
Yeah.
So once you created your segments, and then you can perform actions on that specific segment. So I'm moving into the workflow section where you can create a workflow based on the segments once the contact is added to the segment, or if any changes happen into that segment. I'm going into the standalone workflows, going to create a new workflow in here. So workflow will start when a specific event is received. So that specific event would be experience ID segments. So here you need to select which segment you want to use when you want to trigger your workflow. So I'm going to choose a default directory and this high risk segment. So going into the next, and you're gonna need to select an action. So action could be when a member is added to the segment. For example, we have selected high risk segment and a new member is added to this high risk segment. You can be able to send a notification to any other specific team if there is a new member in the high risk segment.
So from here, this is where we get into the flow, right? So the first element we have there is the trigger. A member is added to a segment.
Correct.
And then from here we have conditions and tasks.
Yeah, condition if you want to filter any specific customer's data, or task if you have any specific action to perform. So a task could be email notification if you want to send an email notification whenever a new member adds into the high risk segment. Or it could be integration as well with Salesforce or Zendesk if you want to send that data back to any other system.
Or a rewards program, like whatever, right? So it's a high value customer and you want to send a reward for being a valuable customer. So you hopefully start seeing the possibilities of what we can do with this functionality.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so we'll go.
Let me, moving into the slide deck again.
Yeah. So the next example we'll be sharing with you is, oops.
Sorry, that's the one.
Sorry, this one.
Yeah.
So next example is around Text IQ. We're not going to go to Text IQ. Like we'll run another webinar if that's of interest around text analysis at some other points. But just a bit of a recap. You know, with text analysis, you can create topics, and you're going to get the AI running through, looking at sentiment, giving you sentiment, effort, emotions, but also indexing responses by action and suggestion. So this is where all the AI kind of works in the back end. And so what we want to do is leverage these additional variables really that are being added to your data set to create workflows, create actions and automations. So the example, I have a couple of examples to share with you, but again, see the endless possibilities you have here. It could be, for example, you have a new product or a new feature being launched. We actually apply this quite a bit on digital programs with some of our customers where they may be launching an app, for example, and they want to specifically monitor negative sentiment about that product, that feature, or that new channel. So what we can do is set up rules to monitor keywords associated with a negative topic and the negative sentiment. And then from there, you can look at creating or integrating with Jira to create a ticket. So you start feeding this information to your product managers, your digital teams who are actually developing the product. So they actually start receiving real-time customer feedback on the product that they are developing. The second example, a bit more related to employee experience. Imagine that you need to monitor work safety. So you want to identify and manage work safety on site, but it could also be bullying, well-being. So the way you can do this is by looking at your current surveys. A survey response is received. Could be by looking at open-ended responses safety words are brought up, or bullying related words, whatever that might be. So by capturing those keywords in the workflow, then it can create tasks. And Manish, we're going to share a couple of examples around these tasks. The main one could be you set up a process to report safety hazards by creating another survey, or sending alerts to your safety officers, for example.
Yeah. So I have few examples added in one of my test project. We'll showcase some of those examples. So the first one is based on a new product. So if you have a topic created into the survey flow, so I have created a topic based on that open-end questions where we are getting a response from the customers. So the topic name is product, and I'm looking for negative sentiments. So if there is any these words mentioned in some of those comments, then we are assigning them into a topic which is called product. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check if the sentiment is negative, we're gonna take any action on that. So that's under the workflows. So within workflow, we have this workflow created, which starts when we receive a survey response. You can see the first starting point is whenever we receive a survey response. The second is the condition, which is I'm checking in that product sentiment. If it equals to negative, then I'm scheduling the final task, which is sending an email notification. So it could be another task as well. It could be sending the data back to any other system, or it could be creating a ticket.
So the Jira integration,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
we find like sometimes in these cases, we may integrate with Slack. So really look at what systems you have where your teams are working on, and you want to send this information to Slack, to Jira, to Zendesk, to Salesforce, whatever that might be. The options are available to do this type of notifications.
Yeah, that's right. So the second example we have is the intelligence text analysis. So the same trigger point we have here also, which is based on the survey response. So whenever we receive a survey response in the survey, and then we are checking the condition based on the survey questions, which is we are checking a word called safety. So in that response, if anywhere word safety is mentioned in that question, we are triggering a workflow with the final task. And the final task can be either a one task or multiple tasks. So what we are doing here is if someone has mentioned word safety in one of their comments, we can either send them another survey, which could be a survey which can ask few more questions about safety.
More detail.
Yeah.
So you start building a little bit of, in the case of safety, a process to take safety practice to the next level by integrating, all right? You complete a survey, you mention something around safety or any other words, right?
Yeah.
You can create conditions with multiple words.
Correct.
And then you create a process to actually log in through the safety concerns or well-being concerns by using a survey in Qualtrics.
Yeah, correct. So this logic of looking for word safety is just an example. You can add more words as well. So you can add more condition sets. It depends on the specific use case, which conditions you wanted to set before starting the other tasks. Okay, so that's what we have for these two examples.
So you have two actions under this workflow.
Correct, yeah.
All right, let's go to the next level of examples where we want to share with you some more advanced integrations and workflows. So we have three cases here. The first one is actually quite common, but it just can be sometimes a little bit tricky in terms of the setup because not everything takes place within the workflow. So I want Manish to share how we do that, but is the scenario is very common. So in the sense from your customers unsubscribe from Qualtrics, and you need to ensure compliance with data privacy regulations, but also to keep your customers, if they are unsubscribing from Qualtrics, this information should be on your other platforms like marketing or CRMs. So what we're doing is creating event conditions and then tasks that will get them unsubscribed from the Qualtrics platform, but also connecting these back to the marketing platform.
Yep, correct. I have few screenshots to showcase because wouldn't be possible to show everything in the platform because it's really much time consuming. So as you can see, to create a customized opt-out process in Qualtrics, first we need to create an additional survey, which will be used as opting out survey. As you can see in the first screenshot, which is the email invitation template that holds the link for unsubscribing any specific contact. You must replace that link with that opt-out link, which you can see in the screenshot second. And also passing a contact ID parameter would be beneficial to track which respondent is opting out. So this is a kind of a customized solution where you can customize your opt-out page as well as per your organization's branding. The next step we have in opting out process is wherever anyone opts out, you can start a workflow trigger and send that specific individual context detail back to any other system or CRM, and also perform any action to opt out the contact from the Qualtrics mailing list or either from the whole directory. In the screenshot 4, you can be able to see we have configured the Salesforce task where we are updating the opt-outs information from Qualtrics to Salesforce so that both the systems data will be up to date. So yeah, that was the example for opting out.
So next one, gift card solutions. There are options available in Qualtrics, and Manish will talk a little bit about what those are. But effectively is you want to reward customers, employees, panel members. If you have a research panel, the event is quite simple. Potentially, customers complete a survey, they get points accrued. And once they meet those points thresholds, then we have a connection to the reward platform where they can go and do the points of gift card redemption.
Yeah, that's right. So we have some of the out-of-the-box options available for the gift card. So one from that is the BHN rewards, which is also called Tango. So the Qualtrics to BHN rewards integration simplifies the process of rewarding survey participants without needing custom APIs. However, there are any other platforms as well, which we can be able to integrate with Qualtrics with the help of custom API. So this BHN rewards integration allows you to link your Qualtrics survey to your BHN rewards account directly through the Qualtrics interface. When a participant completes a survey, Qualtrics automatically triggers the transfer of their response data to BHN rewards, where rewards such as loyalty points or discount codes are issued based on predefined criteria. This integration streamlines the reward process, enhancing user engagement and automating the distribution of incentives without any manual intervention.
Yeah. Imagine this actually, you could have your customers have an end-to-end program. Your customers have completed, I don't know, 5 surveys. You want to give them a little reward. You can actually set up a system like this potentially to help. And I know it costs money. We just wanted to share if budget was not a concern, like what options you potentially have available. All right, let's go on to the next one, which is an idea for you to potentially consider using workflows and integrations to create, manage a research panel. We have some customers that do have a research panel, and we think that is a really valuable resource to have a group of your customers or even external people join on this panel. That you can tap on to do more qualitative type of research or product testing, concept testing. So really valuable components on a customer experience program and more broadly as part of the insight function within the organizations. And the way you do this, and we recommend our customers as a starting point, you may have your relationship type of survey. At the end of that survey, ask a question, you're willing to join a research panel? They say yes, and then the workflow starts, right?
Correct.
Can I share how we go around that?
Sure. Let me share my screen back again. So going into the project, so I have created one survey, which is for the panelists. So the first step is we're going to distribute this survey to the panelists, asking them to join the panel. So based on their response, if they agree to join this panel, we're going to start a workflow. So a workflow would be whenever a survey response is submitted, the workflow will start. And then we have a condition, which is we are checking if they have said yes to join this panel. then we're gonna add their details into Qualtrics XM directory. So which is the master database. We have created a separate list for all those panelists. As you can see here, we have added their details, first name, last name, email address, or any other additional details if you want to attach with their specific contact. We can be able to add, for example, some of the demographic information, their age, gender. It's always good to have those additional information because you can be able to use this information in the future surveys as well, which you are going to
For
distribute.
profiling and
Yeah.
even selecting. I think something actually that we don't have here is you could also add in another task that is asking them to go through a recruitment survey where you get into a lot more deeper in terms of the demographics or products they use, which then again from a research point of view allows you to get really specific
Yeah.
on who you select to help you complete some of these more
Yeah,
detailed tasks.
That's correct. You can have another task, which is sending another survey based on this survey.
Recruitment survey,
correct.
yeah. And that gets us to audience management in Qualtrics, which again is another webinar.
Yeah. So this gives us that audience management is something else. Like it has another interface which gives panelists more options to toggle between different surveys.
Yeah. All right, hopefully this is helpful. So you start hopefully seeing a little bit of the picture we want to paint here. Create a panel, you have your rewards integrated in, like everything runs really smoothly. And you have all the information flowing to the directory. You can select the right people and the dream comes through. But also to make the dream comes through, you do need to get some of the essential integrations right, right? And that really starts with connecting to Qualtrics, your contacts, at least having some form of automations for survey triggers to take place. And there's a lot of options available here. I'm actually going to pass it on to you because you explain it better.
Sure. So I have few screenshots added in here where I can talk how you can set up Zendesk or even JSON events when you need to send the data from Qualtrics. Sorry, it's the other way around. When you need to receive the data from Zendesk and JSON events and maybe send a survey in Qualtrics based on those specific real-time events. So the Zendesk integration allows surveys to be triggered automatically based on customer support events. For example, when a ticket is closed or updated, a survey can be sent to customer to gather feedback about their support experience. By linking Zendesk with Qualtrics, this process becomes fully automated, reducing the need of manual survey distribution. You can be able to easily see the history as well of all those distribution in Qualtrics without any manual work in that task.
So this is where like we start talking about transactional type of service, or even from an EX point of view, your life cycle type of service, right? It's like something happens external to Qualtrics, a ticket gets closed, a field gets updated. There's an integration to Qualtrics to send that information in and then automatically trigger the survey.
Yeah. Similarly, as the JSON events, it sends specific data points to Qualtrics in real time, enabling survey distributions based on different actions or conditions. So we can have any of the CRM starting point. These two are just the examples. It could be a Salesforce or any other platform. If it's not out of the box, we can have capabilities to do that through custom APIs as well. So the next option to load the data in Qualtrics is through SFTP. So these are the scheduled based workflows. The process involves retrieving service data from SFTP into Qualtrics. So this is a task you can see where we are starting this at a specific time where it could be run at daily basis or weekly basis. And then in the second task, you can see we have extract data from SFTP files. So you need to add the files into the SFTP server, and then Qualtrics can search for that specific path to look for the file and load all those data responses into the survey. And then you can use those responses for your dashboard insights, or maybe load into the historical data if you want to map into your dashboards.
And the beauty of this, the more data we add into Qualtrics, the more we can do with AI.
Yeah.
Especially around the AI segmentations.
Segmentations and the Qualtrics intelligent text analysis,
Yeah.
text IQ as well.
We can actually, is a really good example. We can use this option to bring in and structure data to Qualtrics and then analyze, like talk about complaints, emails. You just like have a bunch of, if you can easily upload this into SFTP CSV file,
Yeah.
bring it into Qualtrics to analyze that information.
Yeah,
or
true.
chat data or call transcripts.
Yes, and if there is some data cleaning needed, we can definitely add few more tasks in between.
Yeah.
The one which I was showing before, code task or any other tasks to transform some of those data scripts.
All right, the last example we have here, which is a bit of a good essential type of integrations, relates to exporting data real time. So a survey is completed, and you want to send that information outside Qualtrics. So in simple terms, it could be you just want to trigger something in Zendesk, in Salesforce, or you can actually send a full data file back to your data lake.
Yep, there are different ways. I have some other screenshots in here. So in this example screenshots, we have a scheduled workflow to automate exports data to an SFTP server, ensuring that server responses are securely transferred at a set time. By configuring these exports schedule within Qualtrics, you can specify the frequency and also the time of data export. This process ensures that the most up-to-date data is exported in a secure manner to your SFTP server, where it can be accessed for like further processing or analysis. Scheduling exports helps automate data management, reduces manual effort, so you don't need to export the data manually. Next example we have is, I think this is the final last example we have, which is a Salesforce integration. So in this example, when a survey response is submitted, that's the first task of the trigger point. You can see the data is automatically pushed to Salesforce in the real time, allowing for immediate use in customer or lead records. This integration ensures that the survey feedback is instantly available within Salesforce, enabling timely actions such as updating contact information, creating tasks, or we can even create a Salesforce ticket based on the low NPS score.
Yeah.
Think this is
think
it.
that's it. Yeah. We do have a few questions, so maybe we'll just go on to the next slide. Thank you for hanging out with us. We love feedback, so please pick up your phone, scan the code, give us a feedback. We also have a very important question there, which is what webinar should we do next? So while you do that, I'm going to go through the questions. Where are they? And then I'll read them out and we'll give our best in terms of answering those questions. So hang out with us for a little bit longer. All right, we'll start from the top actually. There's a lot of questions. Thank you. The very first question, can it be integrated with the Alaya Care and other tools? In principle, yes.
Yeah, technically it can be integrated with Alaya Care. I haven't seen out-of-the-box solution in Qualtrics with Alaya Care, but if you have option to do the API call integration with Alaya Care, we can build a custom solution to integrate with Alaya Care.
Yeah. Or it could be SFTP actually. Like you could maybe have the option of sending Alaya Care data to SQL, SFTP folder, and then pick it up from there. We have a question, will this pack be provided to us? Yes, we have our marketing master Journey. She will make sure that everyone gets the pack and recording. Are there any out-of-the-box extensions to Oracle?
We don't have any out-of-the-box extensions to Oracle, but I believe within Oracle, we have the SFTP server path I have seen before with one of my other client. So that could be easy integrations with Oracle.
Oracle is a really big platform and solution. So, and they will find ways to connect with Oracle, either through SFTP, APIs, webhooks, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Another question, if you use a CRM not listed, how would I trigger a survey using contact info from CRM?
So again, if it's not listed, if that CRM is not available, you could use webhook, which is JSON events, which is very easy to use. Also, you could use the Qualtrics file service, which is the API call. So you're gonna just need to send the data to that path and Qualtrics can receive and send a survey smoothly.
Yeah. Someone saying that I don't have the AI segment option when I look into my direct segment tab, only create a segment. This could be the AI, any AI feature is based on the new Qualtrics, how do I call it? Functionality, like it says, you basically need to upgrade to the latest license, but all the customers will be upgraded to the latest license by the end of the year, I believe. So you should be able to get that pretty soon as you go through your renewal process. But contact your customer success manager or account manager as well, or let us know and we'll be happy to look at that for you. We use workflows. Another question is, we use workflows regularly, but I have noticed that the sentiment analysis isn't performing optimally. Is there something we could do to improve its accuracy? It's a tough one.
Sure. Until we take a look.
We kind of need to look at that one. Yeah, I don't have an easy answer for that, unless we are able to look at how you created those topics, and if there's any improvements we could make to the topics. Another question, can we trigger the safety word within the survey and have a follow-up question asking if they want a follow-up contact?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, as long as that is within the survey flow, that logic is survey flow.
Correct.
Yeah. How is integration between Qualtrics and Oracle? Is it possible to set up a workflow where an Oracle event triggers Qualtrics to send a survey invitation email? I mean, we have a customer in Hong Kong that have this integration in place. I won't name them.
Yeah.
And we do the SFTP file.
Yeah, we do have SFTP file integration. Yeah, that's possible to send a survey through Oracle. Just need to find a way, whether it is through the custom API or SFTP.
Yeah, often it's also depending on your IT preference and data team's preference. Qualtrics is very open from this perspective, like how you feed data in. Ultimately comes down to preference around information security. How can we do similar integrations of sending opt-out details with Snowflake?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. How do we automate the import of customer data into the XM Direct? Does this need to be an API?
No, this doesn't need to be an API. So customers' data into XM directory can be done through your platform. It depends which platform you're using. If it's any of the out-of-the-box platform, for example, Salesforce, Zendesk, Slack, Microsoft Dynamics, all those platforms which are listed in Qualtrics list, you can be able to do that without an API. If it's not available, the task is not available within those Qualtrics out-of-the-box solutions, then it could be whether API or the SFTP, depends on the use case.
Yeah. So again, the options are there.
Yes.
We just need to discuss what is the best option for your organization. Final question, can Qualtrics export to Power BI?
Yes, so we can export the data to Power BI with the custom API calls. So I have done that with one of my other clients. They are gathering all the surveys data in one go easily and
then send it
doing the reports in Power BI. So
that's possible. Tableau is also another use case that sometimes we come in. The only thing when we move data from Qualtrics in terms of the analytics, and I understand that at your organization may be using Power BI or other reporting platforms, you have that need. It's just that sometimes you're going to miss some of that more advanced functionality in terms of the analytics that Qualtrics dashboard provides. Yeah. Another question that just came in following up on the Snowflake, is it based on API for Snowflake and Qualtrics integration? It will be API or SFTP. Yeah, it's API. I think that question is just a follow-up question of the opt-out. Yeah. So that's the API. So the survey which I have showed you, the customized survey, you have to create an API call to send the opt-out information back into Snowflake. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Manish, for helping me out, make my job a lot easier. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today.